I was a big C.S. Lewis fan. Read a lot of C.S. Lewis, and someone noticed that I was a C.S. Lewis fan, and just casually said to me, "Have you ever read G.K. Chesterton?" I said, "I've never heard of Chesterton." He said, "Well, if you like C.S. Lewis, you'll just love G.K. Chesterton." And then the momentous bomb dropped. He said, "In fact, if you read Chesterton, you don't even need to read C.S. Lewis because all of C.S. Lewis is in Chesterton." And I thought that was a horrible and blasphemous remark, and I could not even comprehend why anyone would say something like that. But it was about 3 years later when I picked up my first Chesterton book, and the love affair began. And I've been reading Chesterton for 40 plus years now. And I think I am convinced that C.S. Lewis got all his ideas from Chesterton.
That is so interesting. As I mentioned before, when we had the initial meeting, I was introduced to C.S. Lewis about 10 years ago, and it just changed my life completely. The guilt, shame. I just found this new freedom. And now I meet you, and you're like, well, wait a minute, G.K. Chesterton actually came before him. So it was a little bit shocked, but I'm not going to I'm taking your word for it. And I'm also diving into Chesterton myself. You did say reading The Everlasting Man changed everything. What did Chesterton articulate that you hadn't heard before?
Well, first of all, that was the book that really brought C.S. Lewis to the Christian faith. He was an atheist until he read The Everlasting Man. And
Okay.
he made the funny comment, in his memoir that a young man who's serious about his atheism cannot be too careful about what he reads.
Right.
And so it really, it turned around an atheist, and so that, since that was the book that had influenced Lewis the most, I started with that book. And what Chesterton does in that book is he crams all of world history between two covers of a book, and splits it up into the time before Christ and the time since Christ, the
Mhm.
everlasting man being Christ, and how history just changes completely at that moment when God enters the stage in the form of a man. And nothing that that nothing can explain it except the Christian explanation.
Right.
And I think that's what C.S. Lewis got so much, is that you can call Jesus a great teacher, but a great teacher would not say that he was God. That's something a great teacher would not do. That's
Yeah.
something that a lunatic would do, or a
Right.
liar, yeah, or someone who's the devil, right?
Right.
And so he's either telling the truth or he's crazy. You can't call him a great teacher, though.
Mhm.
That's not an option. And that's the big game changer right there. And then Chesterton does so many other things in that book. Unfolding ancient history and how